You tuck your new pink and black coat, the one purchased earlier in the day just for this special evening, around your body. Pull it tight like it's cold out, except you're indoors and the fire is roaring. You're cold, but it's the kind of cold that can't be heated by rubbing two sticks together or turning up the thermostat. The kind of cold that can only be vanquished once your heart catches up. Your heart is cautiously icy, watching and waiting. It isn't safe to let it melt just yet. Instead you look. You could say spy, except you have an invitation, an elaborate listing of reasons this will be the party to end all parties, delivered right to your inbox. You've been promised bubble baths, servants, champagne, s'mores, drugs, debauchery. Those things intrigue you, sure, since you're used to zoning out in front of the TV. But you'd have shown up for gin rummy if it were held right here, in these rooms that hold a life that will never be yours. A life you've been given glimpses of, but never truly peeked inside. Even better than any promise of party pampering, you've been granted access to this sacred space, this love shack you've up till now only imagined vividly. This is your chance to enter the inner sanctum, and you cling to it in the same way you hold your coat and your heart close. Still, despite the tacit permission, you feel a little bit like a spy and a niacin emissary as you walk through the rooms that make up their home, their urban house of love and lust and lasciviousness, a house you will never inhabit no matter how many times you fuck the master of it. You've been invited here before, of course, when the lady of the manor was away. You don't quite know where she spent the night, and it doesn't really matter. Maybe she's a bed hopper too. That night, the coveted marital bed was yours for the taking, for an evening of borrowed, perhaps stolen pleasure. It was so tempting, except the man you love would only be yours on temporary loan. Plus, you liked the other beds you've christened with him, the beds that became yours with the ease of a credit card, the swipe of a key, the beds that are almost communally owned, yet allow you to feel like they are yours for the borrowed time they're allotted to you. You decline that chance to slip between his sheets, spending the night instead in a glamorous threesome with frosting and vodka, tonguing the one, bathing in the other, letting them take you away to something not quite an orgasm, not quite shameful enough to make you burn the way you need to succumb. That burning, that fire that lights you up from the inside out, which turns pain into the most wicked of pleasure. He knows how to do that, the man of the house, the woman in the sheer black slips husband. He knows exactly how to hold the match between his fat, meaty fingers, to strike it in such a way that the blaze erupts in one part of your body and spreads instantly to the rest. He can do it with a word, a whisper, a text, a hand, an image. The truth is, he can do it even when he's not doing anything at all. You only need conjure him in your mind and you're inflamed, a mixed blessing of desire and curse. He's told you he thinks about you when he puts on his belt, the one whose leather made you scream in Kentucky, whose buckle pressed against your throat in Montana, whose tip you kissed with sore, swollen lips in California. You've traveled so far to pretend he is yours, yet here at ground zero, you realize just how mistaken you were. No matter how many states you undress in for him, she will always be there. On these trips, he tells you how he misses the scent of your vanilla perfume as you lie on those borrowed pillows. You in turn confess to miss the way he breathes deeply of your neck, like he's getting high off of it, snorting a line of euphoria directly to his brain. That is your ground zero, the smell, taste, and touch of each other's body. Home has no place in your affair. Instead, it's a base you can claim in any state you find yourself together in. This home certainly is theirs through and through. You may be a guest or a spy. Either way, you are an intruder, an outsider whose evidence will be wiped away after you step back outside. You feel his eyes follow you around the room, feel his palms sweat as you tilt your head back and look the journalist whose byline you've read countless times, tilt your head against her breast, and slide her red lipstick over your lips, painting them as if she were making love to you. In a way, maybe she is, her fingers crushing your jaw, the not quite liquid, not quite solid of the waxy ruby pressing hard against your lips, hard the way he used to crush them, hard the way you like it. She laughs an almost evil laugh that makes you wonder what else she could do with the lipstick, and you feel a prison of static pass from her small bony hands into your cheeks when she pinches them, inspecting her work. You wonder, of course, if he's fucked her, even though it shouldn't really matter. Lots of things that shouldn't matter take up space in your mind. Fragments of jealousy on permanent repeat. You pucker up just to give your lips something to do, someone to make contact with who is not him. Her tongue traces the red, teases, darts, but doesn't claim you as her wicked laugh did. You let her know with your lips that she could have you, but she simply pulls back and smiles, her nails digging into your upper arm. Suddenly you want to pull her bleach blonde hair, tuck hard until she can't even make a sound, the feral dom inside of you flicking at your insides, aching to be let out for a moment. Instead, you just smile wildly, and she slinks away to find another victim. After, you think the lipstick will be smeared. That's only right, isn't it, after someone's just fucked you with a tube from MAC. But instead, it's perfect. Redder than red, redder than you'd ever dare in your daily life. Fancy that. They should put that in an ad campaign. I'm going to skip a little bit. Now they're in the closet. 7 minutes of heaven. He knows you like to struggle, knows you like the adrenaline rush of giving your all to a wrestling match with a preordained outcome. If you were locked up, you'd be the type to rattle the cage. Instead, you silently provoke him, knowing he's getting harder by the moment. But for once, this is not about his cock. This is about you, about the tears now pouring down your face, about your decision to stay rather than flee. You hear the fluttery sounds of his wife laughing outside the door, and this makes you growl. He presses you tight against the wall, firm behind you while his soft bulk is before you. What he wants, though, is not what you'd expected. It never is. He eases his hand off your face so you can take in some air, then rams 4 fingers into your mouth. Get them nice and slick, because I'm going to put this inside you. You make a noise, a gargled moan, not sure how this will happen. He is forcing you, and yet he is not. You could call it off with a single, simple word, but it's one that's anything but safe. Safe would mean comfort, safe would mean calm, safe would mean something you've never been with him. You wouldn't dare use it here, and he knows it, knows that the power he wields is of the mind first, body second. The words have no sooner left his lips than you picture your pussy opening, stretching, hurting for him. You can't let him know how much you want it, how much you like what he's doing. That would ruin the game, and the game is all you have. You move to bring your left leg up against him, thrust your knee somewhere it will make an impact, but he's on you in a flash. He whips something out of his pocket, a Swiss Army knife. Without opening it, he presses it to your lips, then holds your mouth open while he lets the metal touch your tongue. Despite yourself, you like it. You have no time to think just then about whether he uses it with her or all the other girls. You just let the tang enter your mouth, let all it represents remind you why you so desire him. Submit, he says, not a question, but not completely a command either. He knows you could keep struggling, keep moving, keep prolonging this teasing, taunting game. He knows it could get heated. He knows you could be in there far longer than propriety should allow. You can't move much, but you let your eyes blaze at him for as long as you can before finally sinking almost imperceptibly against the wall. He gets it and eases off with a knife. He could cut off all your clothes, and if he knew you had a second step stashed, he surely would, but instead he just lets the knife dance over your skin. He holds one hand over your mouth, lightly enough that you can breathe, but a reminder that he can take that away at a moment's notice. On the floor, he says, "It's dark, but you do it anyway. You're going to take my fist, and you're going to like it." You get so wet when he says it, you almost scream, your pussy contorting even as tears race to your eyes. You're back where you've always wanted to be, doing something for him, with him, that stretches your boundaries beyond all recognition. You are no longer spying, of course. You've plunged right in, entered the enemy's territory. You are in her home, but if his hand is going to go inside know you will be getting all of him for as long as that takes. This thing leaves no room for outside thoughts. Of course he has lube with him, and your heart twists the way your pussy does for that. He'd never really hurt you. He'd never be the guy going too rough, too fast, like so many others you've been with, unless he knew you were ready. I bet you barely need this, since you're such a slut. I wish there were another guy here whose cock you could suck while I'm inside you. He said this while shoving your legs apart with his knees. If we had a bed, I'd tie your ankles to the bedposts and tape that pretty mouth shut. You'll just have to find a way to be quiet. He smears the lube against your pussy, then slaps it hard before pressing 3 fingers inside. You are ready, so ready, and you take 3 fingers in greedily, followed by a 4th. His other hand finds places to pinch you, inner thigh, belly, as you open for him, spreading your legs as far as you can, willing yourself to relax. You, the part of you that makes these decisions, want this final time, this heat, this heaviness, but your body is more cautious, closing around his fingers as the thumb attempts entry. Your body, your cunt, knows he is almost too large to fit inside, but if you have overruled your body before, turning pain into the most dazzling of erotic highs. This is not like the times he's held you down and shoved his cock inside you, shocked you with the bluntness of it, making you play catch-up. He can't hurry this along. Instead, he rotates his fingers and adds more lube, and you grunt and bite your lip and feel him get a little farther inside. He goes in and in and in, thumb curled up, and then there it is, the ball of his hand, this giant inside you. You've heard that the human heart is actually the size of a hand, and wonder if right now he's giving you a part of his heart, a part that is only for you, a part you can treasure as you feel its outline pressing the tender, thin walls of your pussy wider and wider. The tears come of fear, relief, pleasure, love, all at once, and you are grateful for the dark. He can hear them, that's fine, but seeing them is another story. Seeing them is a little too close for comfort. You lie there on the floor of the closet, stealing more than your 7 minutes in a kinky kind of heaven, as his massive heart of a hand reels you in and lets you go. His other hand finds your clit, so hard and aching, it could be a cock, and you think you'll hurt him when you come like that, squeezing so tight, the energy rushing all around, making your fingers tingle and your head so light it could float away. You see stars behind your eyes and have to drop your legs to the ground. His hand makes love to you, makes love appear inside of you, even as you know this has to be the end. You want all of him, all the potential he has to love someone, and this is just a teaser. I'm going to pull out, he says, after what could be 3 minutes or 30. You want to protest, because once he's gone, the emptiness will be so huge, you know that sex will never be enough to fill it. You reach for his wrist, and he lets you take it, lets you half sit up and keep him there. There's a stillness to all this, a calm, zen-like focus, combined with the way it makes your pussy take over everything. You can feel him shaking, are sure he is sweating, and you take your fill of him, lie back, and let him lead. The silence is not deafening, but awe-inspiring. You break it by leaning against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. You manage to block out all the noise outside the closet. In a few minutes, you will emerge, splash some water on your face, even though it'll ruin your makeup. Take a sip of seltzer and, unnoticed, quietly put on your soft, padded, pink and black coat amongst the chaos on all sides. You won't have it in you to say goodbye to the woman in the slip or the journalist, certainly not to him. You will ease out into the icy night and feel a rush of pride and power you didn't think he could possibly inspire. You will walk in heels the 10 blocks to the subway and sit with your legs crossed as the heat he's left you with warms you from the inside out. Before all that, he pulls you close and you melt into him just a little. You are no longer on an espionage mission. There's no pretense of haughty glamour or detached coolness. You are just a girl listening to a man's heartbeat. Tick, 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 tock. You let the rhythm lull you until your heavenly minutes are up.